Beach Theory. Today we have an extra special episode.
This is where it gets awkward.
This is where it gets steamy.
Oh my.
We're
talking awkward here today on
you
Beach
might
Theory.
have been awkward, but my experience was
steamy.
steamy. Okay, so juicy details. So I want to start on this one unless you want to start.
Go ahead.
So, okay, I want to preface this by saying as a teenager, I was very shy around girls, very uncomfortable. Like when I was a little kid, I had a lot of girlfriends, but when I became a teenager, I got scared or whatever. I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah. I mean, for boys, I wasn't scared.
You weren't scared at all of boys?
I could tell that they were scared of me, so I wasn't scared of them. I got lucky.
I would have been very scared of you. Too scared to even ask you out. I guarantee it. There were a lot of girls that I liked in my church that I wouldn't talk to because I was just way too scared. Way too scared. And I, like, when I was like 14 or 15.
We just met each other at the perfect time where you felt perfectly comfortable and I felt perfectly comfortable, and it was a match made in heaven.
It really
meant
was.
To be.
It was. But when I was 14 or 15, like we were like, okay, don't date, until you're 16 years old. So when I was like 14, 15, I was thinking, okay, well, who do I want to date when I turn 16? And there was a lot of girls and I liked them, but I was always too shy. And then I turned 16 and I was still too shy.
You're like,
girls.
Maybe when I turn 16, magically I'll have confidence to talk to girls.
And I don't know why. I was just way too scared. And so I met a girl, and I'm not going to say anybody's names.
I'm not going to say names either, but if you know who this is, then keep it to yourself. Just kidding.
But I'm going to tell a story, and it's just the truth, at least from what I remember. Like, obviously this is my perspective.
Our theories of life.
Yeah,
right?
I'm allowed to say what I think.
Yes.
And so recognize that it's from me.
And same disclaimer goes for me when I talk about dating people.
But anyway, I went to like this church meeting. It was like a stake youth council thing. And I was like in the young men's, I was like in a position of like.
How old were you?
I think I was like 16.
Okay.
But I was like a teacher or a counselor in the young men's, and so I went to this event where I was like getting to put in my perspective on different activities that were upcoming. And I sat next to this girl, and I thought she seemed really cool. She was like really fun, and she was really happy, and like everybody knew her, so she was really popular. And I was like, man, who's this girl? She seems really cool. And she was kind of like talking to me too, like, what's your name? Tell me about yourself, and it kind of made it really easy to talk to her because she was like super fun and she liked to talk. And so it was just really super fun to be around her. And she was like flirting with me, and I could tell she was flirting with me. And so I was like flirting back, and I like gave her my email address. Back then
Hotmail.
It was Hotmail.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Hotmail or Juno. I don't remember what I had back then. But anyway,
I'd like to read those emails.
I know, right? Who knows where they are now? So then I went home and like I emailed her, and then she emailed me, and we talked back and forth a couple of times. And I think we like decided to go on a date or something. And so we got together and we went out on a date. No. Yeah. We hung out at like a group date. So actually some of my other friends went, oh my gosh, I forgot about this part. Some of my other friends came. She invited me and some other friends to come over to her house for like a party or something, for like just a game night or something. So me and one of my friends went over to her house for like a hangout party. And she really liked my friend.
Who?
I'm not going to say
Whisper in
who.
my ear.
I'm not going to say any names.
Whisper in my ear.
I'll tell you later if you can remember.
Whisper in my ear. Oh, okay.
Anyway, sorry, I can't
I just
say.
have to know that.
I don't want anybody
details.
I don't want anybody to feel called out.
Yeah.
But if you know the story, then yeah, I guess you were there. But most people probably who listen to this have no idea. Anyway, So me and him, we went over to her house with another friend of ours that was a girl, and we just watched a movie, and then it was getting late, and I didn't want to drive home because she lived like 45 minutes away. And so I just called home and asked if I could stay at my friend's house. That was the guy who was also at the party. And he told his mom that he was staying at my house. So the classic teenage blunder.
Oh, wow. When in reality, you're staying at
we stayed at the girl's house, but we told our parents we were staying at each other's house.
Oh, wow. What did her parents say?
Her parents were like cool with it.
Wow. I guess, honestly, actually, in a way, I would almost feel better having kids doing stuff under my own house.
Right.
Because then I could at least kind of monitor and be like, what's going on?
And they totally didn't monitor us.
Oh, okay.
Near as much as they should have.
What do you mean? What did you do?
So my friend and this girl were like making out, basically.
Oh.
Half of the night, and we were all just hanging out, and we stayed up too late and just talking about stuff. And anyway, after that, we drove home, and I got in trouble because my mom called his mom, and
That's why
enough,
you drove home? Or was it
we
the
went home
next day?
It was the next
okay.
day. Yeah, I think, or it might have been later that night. We got in trouble and we came home. I don't remember. Either way, my friend and she were like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Okay, I don't remember being told that. That's interesting.
Yeah, I forgot about that part of the story. But it only lasted like a couple weeks.
Okay.
I think his mom said you're not allowed to date her because he'd gone to her house and like lied to her, and so she's like, this is not a good girl. You're not allowed to date her, and so he wasn't allowed to date her. And so then
you're like, I'm
I was
available.
like, I'm available. I think you're cool. Let's date. And so then I started dating her, and then we became boyfriend and girlfriend really fast. And we dated for 2 years.
What's crazy about all of this is the relationship you had was like so the opposite of our relationship now.
Right.
It's like,
or even the relationship that you had with your boyfriend.
yeah, it's like 100% opposite, just completely different experience.
Did you date any other guys before him?
Yeah.
How were those?
Interesting. There's one. Okay, so I think the first date I ever went on was with a boy that was my age, and I thought he was cute, and except he was very, very shy. And if I ever said anything to make him like slightly embarrassed or anything, his face would go beet red. Like, you know, those people that
like of embarrassment, not anger.
Not anger, like embarrassed, like he couldn't handle it. His face would go really red. That's all I remember. But like, I went on a few dates with him, and then I went on a few dates. Well, and later I found out about that boy that like he was telling all my friends and all his friends that we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and we had gone on like 3 dates or something, and we never had that conversation if we were boyfriend and girlfriend. And I just remember being like, really? And that pretty much ended that relationship, because I was like, I'm sorry, we never talked about that, and I didn't agree to that, and you're telling everybody that? Like, it just made me like, meh.
That's funny.
Not interested anymore. But I don't know, I wasn't super interested in him in the first place. It was just kind of like exploring, you know, dating when you're young. It's just you getting to know people.
You should date a lot of people.
Yes.
I did not do that.
I did. Well, I kind of did, because then I also dated this other guy who was really good at dancing, and I dated this other guy who I really liked, and I don't think he liked me quite as much, because I remember I was like just barely 16, and I think he was 17 or so, and like we were riding home, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna kiss him. I'm gonna kiss him. And I got like super close to him, and I was like super flirty with him, and I really think I rubbed him the wrong way or something, not literally. And anyways, and he just didn't, he was like, okay, good night, like pushed me away. And I'm like, dang it. That was like the most bold I'd ever been with any dating experience. So anyways,
so you got rejected,
and it was like one of the first dates I'd ever been on, and I I really liked that boy. I am so glad that I didn't like.
Do you follow him on Facebook?
Yeah, but I found out he had more of a temper than I thought. Like, and I'm so glad I'm not using any names here. Just, like I found out I did not match well with him.
Right.
And then
he could have been your first kiss. Would you have kissed him if he tried to kiss you?
Probably. But what's so interesting about that is
I just had this sudden urge to kiss you. But then like the fear came in my mind that you might not want to kiss me.
Here you go.
I love you.
I love you too. He's my first kiss, actually. And only after we were engaged. I don't know why. I just never really... I mean, other than that one time when I was like this close to kissing somebody that was like, I don't really want to kiss you. It was like a first date. I think he was being like respectful and knowing like, I don't really... He probably later went and told his friends, she totally was going to kiss me.
Right.
Anyways, there was just like random... I feel like I just dated random people that...
That's okay. That's a good
were
thing.
just like friends growing up, or like I just was like, oh yeah, I'll go on a date, sure. Like it was just fun to go, and I got asked to a lot of dances. I got like just went on random dates with people, and it was really fun.
That's cool.
But then later I went on a date with a family friend that I wasn't interested in, and it was kind of like a horrible date. Like it wasn't really good, it wasn't really bad, but I just wasn't interested in him at all. Zero interest. But I went to be nice. And that sounds terrible out loud, but that's the truth. Because I just didn't want to be rude. And so I had gone on a date with this guy, and I wasn't interested in him. And then we were on a group date with a whole bunch of other people, and I started like to think this other guy was kind of cute. And so I don't know. I feel like I don't even remember how we like first started dating.
Yeah.
Other than like, I was friends with his sister, and this is the guy who I was starting to like think I had a little crush on, and I was like, I kind of want to date him. And then I was friends with his sister, and we started dating. And
do you remember your first date with him?
No. What's interesting is I wrote all of it down in my journal.
Oh.
If I could go back and look at it, I'm sure I would find some real interesting things. But like, it's so interesting because I remembered everything with him all the way up until I met you. And then I was like starting to forget all the things with him. And like, now I just remember the things with you.
Very good. Very good. That's the right answer.
That's
You're like,
right.
Who else is there? There's
What?
no other
What's
boys.
this there? I don't know. No, but really, like, in my mind, I was just like, okay, time to forget those things. I don't need to remember them anymore. Like, I can just be with Michael now and remember. And I barely remember. What's so interesting is I was so not interested in Michael when I was not interested.
You've already told that story.
No, but like to a point where I don't even remember what the first day was that I met you. Exactly. I think it was somewhere around like September 17th.
Oh, we don't know the date.
But I don't know the exact date. But like with the other guy I was dating, I had like exact dates of everything that ever happened because I was like, one day I'm going to marry him and I'm going to want to remember all these things.
That's how so the girl that I dated for 2 years, she was all like that. She remembered all those anniversaries. Like, it's our 1 week anniversary.
I never was like that.
It's our 1 month anniversary. This is exact. Like, she remembered all those things. And it was
she would say that?
Yeah.
She's like, do you not know? Was she like that?
Yeah.
Do you not know why I'm so happy right now?
I think it might have been, I don't know. Like, I don't remember her being seriously bothered by it. It was more of like a jokingly kind of a thing. Like, but then again, maybe she was. Or I don't remember. Like, I don't remember a lot about it. This is a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is like
how many
15, 16 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
It was a long time. So, but we dated for a long time. Like, I just remember she lived really far away, and either I would have to drive all the way to her house or she would have to drive all the way to my house. And that was like, I want to say it was a half-hour drive, but that was if I was like good traffic and I was speeding on the freeway. It was like 45 minutes to an hour.
That's funny.
And sometimes I would drive to her house and there was like rush hour traffic and I'd take forever to get to her house. But we talked on the phone a lot. We'd text, and I don't think we emailed as much after right after the beginning. But we'd just go out to eat at different places. We went to the beach sometimes. She came over to my house a lot, and I went to her house a lot. And we just kind of hung out at each other's houses. But I remember her parents were really cool, and they liked me. And I remember all my brothers and sisters got along with her pretty well. But I was just really young, and I was very inexperienced in dating, and I had a lot of like ideas, like things that I believe the world should be like. And I remember she didn't always agree with my ideas, but I was like so opinionated, like the way I believed things were in my mind was like, well, there is no other way.
That is what
this is like the law, right? Like if I believed that this something was one way.
Nothing has changed.
Oh, Becca. I'm better at listening to people's opinions.
You really are.
Even if they're wrong.
Heard it from his mouth, folks.
But I remember she didn't always agree with my ideas, and so because we didn't see eye to eye a lot, we argued a lot. About the whole relationship. I remember being head over heels in love with her, but at the same time, we rarely got along like really, really well. I remember we'd go for months where every time we talked, there was some type of an argument.
Wow.
And it was just like normal like fight and disagree and be angry with each other. And then we would kind of walk away and we'd cool off and we'd come back and we'd feel better.
Make out?
Probably. We did that a lot. We kissed a lot.
I have a weird question. If you didn't have so much physical, would you have been in that relationship?
Well, that's the funny thing is a lot of people said, you need to take a break from her because I think you're blinded by your physical attraction and you're not seeing that this isn't a good relationship. Like you're not a good match.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that she was bad in any way because I think she's a great person. Yeah. Even to this day. And she's, living a good life right now. She's married. She's got kids. She's doing good. Mm-hmm. She seems happy. And I think that's awesome for her. Mm-hmm. But I just don't think that we got along, that we were a good fit for each other. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that I was bad or she was bad. It just means that we weren't compatible. And that's okay. But at the time, I couldn't see past my infatuation for her to realize that there's better things out there, right? And I never dated other girls. So because she kind of brought me out of my shell, and I give her a lot of credit because I was too shy to ever ask anybody else on dates. Mm-hmm. But after dating her, it took me to a place where it was like I was no longer scared of girls at all. Yeah. All of a sudden, because there near the end, we actually broke up for a little while. And when we did, I started dating other girls, and I was like, no fear. The girls,
super happy.
I'd always wanted to date this girl, and so I asked her out on a date, and we had a really, really good date. Like, it kind of helped me to get from this place of like girls are terrifying to now I can talk to girls and I'm not scared because they're just people with flaws and imperfections and ideas, and like it just really helped me a lot to grow up being in that relationship. And like looking back, I'm like, part of me wishes that I had dated more because I know that I think I would have had a lot more fun in dating experience. But I think what happened needed to happen because it's kind of made me who I am. And, I learned who I am and what works and what doesn't work. I learned a lot about what doesn't work and who I'm not compatible with because of that relationship. It taught me a lot about myself.
How very diplomatic of you. Really? That's very good.
Well, I mean, in the moment, it was a lot more emotional. Yeah. Right? Now looking back, it's a lot more logical. But in the
You're able
moment.
to just think of what the lessons you learned from it, and you moved on.
Mm-hmm. But
Well, you didn't tell more. You need to like explain more of the. You dated her for how long?
2 years. I said that a few times.
And you broke up with her. Why did you break up with her?
So actually, kind of crazy story. So we'd been dating for 2 years. When you're a teenager,
That's a long time.
that's a very long time.
That's like commitment.
Yeah.
That is when you are tied down. You
Right.
were practically married.
we were like committed. We were planning on getting married. Like we were talking about how many kids we wanted, where we want to live. Like
wait, how many kids did you want?
I don't remember. I just know
Where'd
we
you
talked
wanna
about
live?
it. In Florida. Like I don't remember what we decided on, and honestly, we probably never decided. And that was part of our like disagreement.
Oh,
Was because we couldn't
interesting.
agree. Like maybe I want to have this many, she wanted to have this many, and then I would be passionate, and she would fight with me, and then we just boom, 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 just like butt heads about it. But after dating for about 2 years, all of a sudden, we went to the beach with me and her friend, and then
girl or boy?
it was a girl.
Okay.
And she seemed kind of distant when we were there, and I was like kind of wondering what's going on. This is kind of weird. And I think she gave me her cell phone, or she left her cell phone open, or she was getting a message, and I opened up her cell phone and I saw that it was from some guy. I was like, who's this guy?
Ooh.
And she was like calling him babe or something like that. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, who is this guy that you're messaging and saying this to, right? It kind of like blew my mind because I didn't know she had started talking to another guy while we were still boyfriend and girlfriend and like super committed, right? So anyway, she went to a dance without me and met another guy who was like 7 years older than her.
Wow.
He was like 26 years old and she was like
Whoa.
18. So he's like 8 years older than her.
Whoa.
It's like, who is this guy and why are you messaging him? And she's just like, not really sure what to say. And I felt like this knife in my heart twisting.
Was she actually like trying to date him?
Yeah.
Was she had gone on dates with him and was like interested in him?
They danced. She got his phone number and then they were texting. And that was it. That was as far as their relationship had gone at this point.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like, what is going on? This is so crazy.
Over as I know it.
It was like the most pain I'd ever felt in my entire life.
Aww.
It was just like torture. So miserable. And
I'm glad you went through that for what it's worth.
Mhm.
Because then you met me. Oh, I'm sorry that you went through that.
It's okay.
though.
It's all right. I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
You know, just feeling that,
But, like,
going through that experience.
Imagining you like feeling like your heart was ripped out, like that makes me feel really sad.
Yeah, it was literally
Well, I will never do that to you. I can honestly say
torture. Thank you. Thank you.
that. You're
love you.
welcome.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It was so
Yeah.
terrible. But I remember like a couple days afterwards, I was just really, really sad. And we had me and her had planned on going and setting up for this dance. And so I knew she was going to be there. And so I went there and I saw her and this other guy, and they were like, she was like flirting all over.
So you didn't break up with her, just
We were not together anymore at this point.
okay.
She was wanting to date another guy,
Okay.
and so it was like, well, I
So
guess
you did say,
we're
okay,
done.
we're breaking up.
Yeah, we're done at
Okay.
this point. But she was like, I went to the church and I saw her setting it up, and I looked through the doors and I could see her with him, and she was like holding his hand and they're like flirting. I'm like, how long has she even known this guy? And she was like all over him.
Well, I mean, how long had she known you before she was?
Well, anyway, I was asking for trouble at that point, right? But I was just in this horrible, sad place where I was like crying for days. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. It was just like for days and days, it was just like the worst feeling in the whole world. And I remember during this time praying a lot, praying and asking Heavenly Father to please help me to feel better, help me to get over it, help me to kind of heal from that relationship. And I remember praying for like hours. Over the period of just a couple days, I read almost the entire Book of Mormon just because I was binging it. And it was really actually kind of a cool experience because I was going through this traumatic, horrible breakup and just feeling so bad and just crying my eyes out. And then I was like praying my guts out and I was reading the scriptures like crazy. And it was just like this huge shift. It went from like the worst feeling in the entire world, and then it shifted to being like filled with light and joy and happiness. Like I felt peace when I was reading the scriptures and praying a lot, and I felt like I really connected to Heavenly Father, and he gave me peace in that time of trial, to where I was like able to cope. And it was like, I think it was over the course of an entire week, and by the end of the week I was like, okay, I feel like I'm better now. Like I don't feel bad anymore. I don't feel sad anymore. I feel hope for the future. Like there's somebody out there for me that's better. You know, maybe I'll meet a girl that's even better. You know, that we get along better. And anyway, I had all these hopes and dreams, and I started to feel like super comforted and excited about the future. And that was really exciting. Like that was a really exciting time. And it was during that brief period that I was like, hey, I can date anyone I want.
I can do whatever I want.
I'm gonna date that girl that I've always thought was really cute, but I'd never had the guts to talk to before, right? Or
yeah, I think like going steady with someone, right? Where you're like dating them consistently for a long amount of time, but you're not marrying them or engaged or anything. I feel like that gives you confidence enough to like really do whatever you need to in the dating world. Right. Like you don't have so much fear anymore.
Yeah.
Even, and this might sound terrible, but even if you end up dating somebody who's not that great, kind of like what you're like for you.
Yeah.
That still helped a lot, you know? So I don't know. I think it's good. So you started dating other girls?
Yeah. So is this all about me on this podcast? Or are you going to tell us a little bit about?
So let's see. So yeah, I was starting to get interested in this boy, and then we went on a few dates, and I was kind of like, I think we were at a point where it was like, okay, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. And I still wasn't quite sure how like interested I was in him. But then, oh wait for your attention.
Have it.
I wasn't sure how interested I was in him, but then he got the lead role in the high school play. And I started having girls come up to me left and right, jealous of me, saying it to my face, like, I am so jealous of you. I can't believe you're his girlfriend. Oh, he's so cute. Blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess he is that cute, isn't he? And then I just like, I fell more in love with him.
Just because everybody else, he was desirable.
Well, it's true though. Like, oh, that's what we should do for Ryan.
That's actually really funny, because I think that some of the girls in my ward when I was a teenager liked me more because I was dating somebody and I was off the market. Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, he's available? What? He's been dating her for a long time. Like, that's a long time to be in a relationship. Obviously, he's not like a weirdo.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah. It like says something for your credibility in a way.
Totally. Yeah.
So anyways, I saw him and I was like, he's so cute. That's true. He is so cute. And it just reinforced my love for him at the time. And then all of the girls were jealous of me. Oh, somebody else. That was the other thing that made me like our relationship more solid, was like somebody else actually had to kiss him in the play. And I remember thinking, oh, that shouldn't bother me. Like, I'm not that attached. Like, I'm not, you know, like I'm interested, but I'm not like super head over heels in love. But then the girl kissed him and she said something like, he's a really good kisser to me. And I hadn't kissed him yet. And I was like welling up with jealousy a little bit and anger that wasn't me and that he was kissing her and she was kissing him. And I was like, and she was one of the girls that was like jealous that I was his girlfriend because she liked him too. And I was like, which is so funny because I actually never ended up kissing him, and I dated him for like 2 years after that. So
you had a long-term relationship too.
Yeah, but half of that time, so I dated him full on for 1 year in person, and then I wrote to him.
Oh, really? Only 1 year?
Only 1 year in person.
And then he left on his mission.
And then he
after
left
1
on a
year.
mission.
Oh, I thought you actually dated for 2 years.
I wrote to him for a full year, and then I met you.
I didn't realize that you didn't actually date him for 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did. I counted that as dating because as dating him.
You were in a relationship.
I was in a relationship.
Counts, so.
And I was just like you, like completely 100% committed. There was no one else.
Yeah.
And in fact, I went on a few dates while he was gone because he's like, you should date around. I just think you should. And I was like, I don't want to date around. Oh, you're going to leave and I'm going to marry you. And then he's like, no, I think you should like date other people just in case. Like we want to, if we do end up getting married, we want to make sure that like it's 100%, you know? And I was like, okay, I can see that. All right. So while he was gone, I went on like a few dates. It was not very many. And of course, no like dates.
No one measured up to him.
It's true. Like he's really amazing. And I, to this day, like, I still think he's amazing. And
you guys never argued or fought or had any problems?
I don't think I ever had one single fight with him ever. Like, he was very calm, very awesome. Just like everybody loved him. Like, just really, really awesome person. So I'm happy for him now. He's actually married and he has a little girl, I think. I have never met his kids, so I don't know. I never talked to him or anything.
I actually met him. I mean, he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he is cool. And that was so awkward, by the way, for me. Probably you were like totally chill, and he was chill, but I was like, I got it.
Well, I met him after we were already married.
Yeah,
is when he came off of his mission.
Yeah, and I was like 6 months pregnant or something.
We were
like
married.
that.
You were pregnant when I first met him. And
yeah.
So obviously, it's not like we were dating.
It was awkward to me because I was like. I think it was close. Okay, so I had like a countdown of when he was going to get home, like the missionary, right? And it was like a year. We had 1 year, and then I met Michael. 1 year left. They usually are gone for 2 years. And and at the time when I met Michael, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, is this... I'm just hanging
told this
out.
story.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But then when I saw him, it was like weird because I remember having such a countdown to the day that he was home. And then like when that day actually came, I still remember it was like October 10th. Like that was the day that I was looking forward to. It was October 10th.
And you can't even remember our anniversary.
Oh, are you getting jealous?
No, it's not.
Okay. Do you like how we're openly talking about our exes and like it's
all right.
We're both okay with it. Like we've always been that way. It's just weird, I guess. A lot of people can't do that.
Well, I don't know. Like
cuz like jealousy, you know.
I don't have any feelings for my ex anymore.
Max?
My ex.
Oh, it's like Max.
So it's not like it's weird or anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
other than I still admire him. Like I think he's a great, great person. And I don't think that will ever change because the experiences I had were great.
Mm-hmm.
So I have nothing bad to say. And I was the mean one and broke up with him. So I don't know if he has anything mean to say about me.
So my story's actually not done yet.
Yeah.
There's like a chapter 2. Part 2. So
back together after jealousy.
Yeah, so I started dating these other girls, and I don't know how she found out.
Well, she probably was just as curious about you as you were about her being with other people.
I remember this happened. So like after she broke up with me and after I was like feeling really, really sad, like I still deep down I still had feelings for her. I still loved her and I still liked her a lot and had hopes of getting back together or whatever, but I was okay with moving on too. But she hurt her foot. She had foot surgery, and so I went to her house to kind of go like cheer her up or whatever.
Oh, bad move. You should have sent someone else. Just kidding.
I went to her house to go.
Was this you still just caring, loving her?
Wanting her more than she wanted me.
Okay.
So I went to her house to go cheer her up. And she was really, really sad because the guy that she had started dating was going to come over and he never came over.
Ooh.
And so I was like, see, I'm the better choice. Don't you see?
Did you say that to her?
Of course.
Oh.
Anyway, she was like,
drama.
She was still, it was very drama. There's a lot of drama. She was still like not interested in me. Like we were still done. She was standing by her guns and I was like, okay, that's fine. So I left. And then I went on this date with another girl and it was super fun. I went on another date with another girl. And then another girl I invited over to my house and we were going to look at bees together. I was going to show her my honeybees because that was like kind of this cool thing. Like, oh, you're a beekeeper. Oh, it was like, I don't know. I was kind of like,
well, you know, like you have interests and that's interesting.
Yeah. So I invited her over to my house to look at the honeybees. And while I was showing her the honeybees and we were looking at the bees, my ex-girlfriend came over to my house. She drove over to my house and went in my room and locked herself in my room and was just like crying and being really, really loud and obnoxious and dramatic.
Oh my! I can't even imagine that. If I was a parent and that happened, I would be like, get out of my house. Like, or maybe I would be nice. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. That is just too much trauma.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for teenagers.
So
no, we'll be good.
So
but that is crazy.
The girl that I had invited over, she was a really good sport. And she was like, I went into the house and I was talking to my ex-girlfriend and I was like, calm down. It's okay. Like, you broke up with me.
Remember, you don't love me.
Right. Remember, I tried to keep it together and you didn't want to be together. And she was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And I guess
why did she come?
Things hadn't worked out with her and this other guy. I think it's funny because looking back,
she could treat you that way.
I think I was always her second choice. I was always her rebound. Even from the beginning, she wanted my friend and not me. And when it didn't work out with my friend, she came to me.
That's really frustrating.
And then when this other guy showed
you were my first choice.
Thanks. And then when she met this other guy, she liked him. And when that didn't work out, boom, she rebounded right back to me. And I was still wanting to be with her. So when she came back to me and was like, please take me back. I'm so sorry. Of course, I was like, go, yeah, let's be together again. And so immediately we were back together again. After she'd broken my heart and crushed it into a million pieces, then I agreed to date again.
Were you just like gonna put up with that always?
I was just inexperienced and I was a child, and like looking back as my adult self, I'm like, what a dumb kid.
Aww.
Like I just didn't know what I was doing. But at the time, like that was my only experience.
Yeah.
And I was fully invested in what I was experiencing in that moment, just like I am now. Like I'm fully invested in our life at this moment as it is, right? But in 10 years, I might look back and be like, what a dumb guy, I don't know, like it's easy to look back on yourself and see your faults, but in the moment, you're just doing the best you can. And in that moment, I was just in love with her and I didn't have any other relationships. And I kind of had this desperation to be in a relationship, to want to feel loved by someone. And I think that's part of the reason that, after my mission, I was in such a focus to get married as fast as possible, because that's just part of who I am. Is I can't stand being alone and not feeling loved. And so anyway, when she wanted me back, of course I was like, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend again. We dated for a few months and then I left my mission. And it's actually funny because
if I ever die, I give you permission to get remarried, but It's got to be with somebody who can respect you and not be like that.
I thought you were going to say, it's got to be with someone who's not as pretty as me.
There's a bottle by his swing. He's sticking his tongue out. He's like...
Yeah, I need to be loved.
Yeah, you do.
I just need it.
And I love you.
I love you too, and I'm glad you love me. But I just want to finish with this thought. So I went on my mission, and we'll do podcasts about my mission later.
You got a ring, and you like basically proposed to her, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Oh, that's kind of important. Considering, was this after she broke up with you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she broke up with you. You got back together. You got a little boat.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah.
Was this on like...
I forgot about this story.
He like, did you rent a little boat or something?
I think it was like a blow up kayak.
Oh. Okay. And you got a ring, right?
Yeah.
Because you were serious.
I was serious.
And you're like, I want to marry this girl.
Yeah.
I'm committed to this girl.
I was.
Even
absolutely.
if she's not committed to me.
I was very serious.
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me. And yeah, I took her out on the lake, and I proposed to her on the lake and said, in 2 years when I get off my mission, then let's get married. And I thought it was so romantic. And then that was it. She said yeah. And we
Did she say yeah, or was she like, yes?
I don't remember. I remember it. I feel like everything after the breakup, when we got back together again, I feel like everything was a little bit tainted.
Yeah, because trust was gone.
Yeah, nothing ever felt as real and powerful as it used to. So, but I was fully invested. Like I was right back in it 100%. And then I went on my mission, and about a month, it was like 1 month.
1 month?
Into my mission.
One? That's like nothing.
Maybe 2 months into my mission.
Wow.
I got a letter from her saying, hey, there's this other guy that I met, and I really, really like him, and I think I want to date him. Just want to give you a heads up. A couple weeks later, I get their wedding invitation. She sent me their wedding invite.
That's fast.
Yeah.
That's, even if it was 2 months, that's fast.
Right.
Are they still married?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty good.
I could tell you more, but I don't want to, it doesn't involve me, so I don't want to just dog on her.
Yeah.
But that's basically where our relationship ended. In that moment when I got that letter on my mission, it felt really, really bad for like an hour. I remember being like, the knife was right back in that old wound, and I just felt it twisting, and I just felt all that pain welling up again. Like I was reliving all that trauma. And I was trying to teach the gospel to people on my mission. I was trying to be a good missionary. And so I went and I kneeled down and I prayed, and I said, Heavenly Father, please, I don't want to go through all that again. Can you please help me to not be sad about this, and to be able to focus on being a good missionary and not let this affect me? And it was like the most amazing thing, because instantly, like literally, it was like someone turned off the light switch, and all of a sudden all the pain and all the sadness was totally gone. And I felt nothing but normal. And ever since then, not once since that moment have I ever felt any sadness about that ever again.
That's amazing.
It was just like, Heavenly Father was like, dude, just get back to work. Here, you're not feeling sad anymore. Go to work.
Do you want to know what my experience was once I Dear John'd? So they call it a Dear John if you write a letter and you're the girlfriend at home writing a letter to the missionary that you were dating. If you break up with them over a letter,
I got a Dear
that's
John.
called a Dear John.
Right.
So I sent a Dear John. It was only after I kept praying and praying. I was like, is this the right thing? Am I supposed to be with him? We've been dating for a little while. I don't want to make the wrong choice. With this, it was the most important decision I would ever
You
make in
didn't
my
want to Dear
life.
John him if I wasn't 100% the
Yeah.
right person, because you didn't want to ruin that relationship that was perfectly good and going in the right direction.
Yeah, everything was good. So I was like, there's no way that I'm going to Dear John if I don't know for sure. So it was like he proposed to me, and it was a month later that I said yes, which is totally mean, but I said I will pray about it, and he was just like, okay, that's good enough for him. And then it was a whole month, and
my answer was, you're gonna get a yes because it's the
and
right
I said,
thing.
well, quit telling me that because I gotta find out myself. Give me time, because every time I prayed, I was given the answer, just give it time, which was correct. I needed time to be with him because I had just met him. I had dated Clint for 2 years, so it was very much like I didn't know him yet, and I just needed time to get to know him. So once I finally got the answer yes through prayer, I was like, okay, that means I'm gonna be with this guy. And I was like, that means I need to Dear John Clint. And I felt so, take that out.
The name. The name, take out the name.
If I slip at all, if there was ever any other spot where I slipped, take it out.
So it wasn't until we were engaged that you broke up with him.
So
all the time that we were dating,
I was dating.
You were still
him.
writing to him as if you were dating him.
I think I told him I had gone on a couple dates, but I wasn't like telling him I was serious. And then
you just weren't putting as many X's and O's at the end of your letters as you used to.
I wasn't writing. I had kind of stopped writing for a little while because I was like, I don't feel like I can write him right now while I'm dating you more seriously and be honest, you know? So I just didn't write for a little while as I was finding out if you were the right guy. And then finally I was like, okay, it's time to Dear John. I am now engaged, and I need to write to him and tell him that we're not together anymore. And that was really hard, and I think I cried, and I just felt so bad because such a good person, and like I had nothing bad to say about him at all, nothing. And so the idea of making him hurt really hurt me, but I knew I had to do it, you know, because I was needing to be with Michael, and I got the right answer that it was with Michael that I was supposed to go. So anyways, what's so interesting is you would have thought that once I Dear John Clint,
can't say that.
I am slipping so much. Okay, just cut that out. Thanks for doing that. You would have thought that once I Dear John'd my boyfriend.
Go ahead, come on, let's do this thing.
You'd have thought that once I Dear John my boyfriend, I would have been more like, yay, now I'm engaged and I'm so excited. But I Dear John'd him, and then I went, I'm free! I'm not in any relationship. I could date anybody. And then I was like, wait. Oh, I Dear John'd him so that I could just marry someone else. I guess I'm just like, I think I wanted freedom from all relationships for a minute. Like, I just wanted to be able to date anybody and go crazy. And then I was like, oh, wait, the reason why I'm doing this is so that I can
be in another relationship.
And it had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with the other guy I was dating. It really was just about like freedom for 1 second, but then it wasn't. So, but then I was like, I can be happy. I'm getting married. It's okay. But I really did want freedom for a minute. No.
Good times.
Happy.
Well,
we're happily married.
Definitely.
Been married for
almost 11 years.
Almost 11 years. And 5 kids later. And everything is good.
I think we got the right person. It
may
have been
we got the right people.
A little bit of a bumpy road along the way, but at least especially for me. It was
for him.
A very bumpy
Mine was
road.
like smooth sailing. Honestly, I feel like I felt good. I was okay. After I Dear John'd my missionary, I was like, why did I date him in the first place, Heavenly Father? Like, why?
What was the point?
What was the point? Like, if I wasn't even going to marry him or anything, like, what was that for?
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like it was to keep me out of trouble as a teenager because it was a good group of friends and a good person. But also, like, it was to just, like, tie me over so that I would be ready and available when you came into my life.
Mm-hmm.
but I would also be tied down at the same time. Like, it was just weird, but because we met each other when I was like taken, I had no problem being 100% myself around him, and that ended up being in our favor, and it was the best thing ever. But that wouldn't have happened if I was available. I probably would have been really nervous around you because you're so tall and so handsome. You're like, yeah, I am. Oh man, if there was shirts that could explain us, it would be, my shirt would say I love you and his would say I know.
I was just thinking about Star Wars.
Really?
I was thinking about how we recorded
Match made in heaven.
we recorded these podcasts in the same format as the Star Wars movies have been released. First, we recorded the middle section, which is our marriage and our life together.
Yeah.
Then we went back and we recorded the original 3 episodes, which is our prequel to our marriage. And now after this, we're going to talk about what's coming next in our life.
That is so funny.
Moving on to the future.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Well, thank you guys for watching this episode or listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
And now here's all of the pictures of the people we were with before.
No, we're
just kidding.
I don't want anybody to feel bad. So
that would be like the worst thing ever.
Because
no.
it's possible that somebody watching this might know one of them and not realize that that's the same person. So.
No, I am not revealing any secrets of who they were.
Hopefully you learned something from this. And if not, maybe it was just entertaining hearing our drama.
Yeah.
Or at least mine, anyway. Thank you guys for tuning into Beach Theory. We got more every single week, so stay tuned, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.